So you're someone with a busy mind, someone that maybe has tried meditation before and it's felt really challenging because you found yourself just constantly thinking. And maybe what it did when you went into that more silent or still space through the meditation was it highlighted just how much thinking that you do. And sometimes that can be a little bit overwhelming. A lot of the time when we're busy doing other things, we're not actually aware of how much we're thinking while we're doing that. And that means that we're not present while we're doing that. So we're actively engaging in tasks, but we're not present because we're actually thinking. So one of the things that mindfulness is helping us to do is to disidentify from the ego, which is the thinking mind, and also to decenter from the ego mind, which means that we create space in between us and our thoughts, which allows us then to observe what's unfolding and then choose where to place our attention and focus. And that's something that for a lot of people is life-changing when they start to understand and master that skill. But if we think about what happens in our life to create such a busy mind, well, if we think about when we're younger and we don't have, first of all, a good enough education about the nature and tendencies of the mind and how to manage the mind, how to work with the mind, that is not really there as part of our education system, or hasn't been up until this point. It's maybe slowly coming in now, but we haven't been educated in the ways of mind, and therefore we will just automatically turn to the mind in terms of thoughts and just think that this is part of our identity, it's just part of who we are, which again is also not true. We are not our thoughts. So again, if we think as well about maybe when we're younger, maybe we've had some emotional disturbances when we were younger, and our sensation in that experience has been one of feeling a bit overwhelmed by the emotion. We felt like we couldn't control that feeling, and therefore what we can tend to do is we can try to escape from that feeling because it's too big, the emotion's too big for us to hold, to turn towards, so we turn away from it. And the place that we often go to for that feeling of safety and reassurance is into the thinking mind. We try to think of how we can calm ourselves down. We try to think of solutions, or try to go to logic and make sense of what's happening. So we've learned immediately to go there, and that then creates this sense of, because I'm thinking, it kind of gives me something to hold on to. It's something that I can have control over. But it's a futile exercise, and also it's sustainably not good for our mental health and well-being. Because what we're actually also doing by attending to all of those thoughts is we're feeding energy into all of those thoughts, and the more energy that we're feeding into those thoughts, the more power that we give them to keep coming back day after day after day. So what we need to maybe try to consider is there a practice out there that could help me to gradually start to change the way I relate to my mind, and then with practice and consistency of that practice, start to free myself from this sense of having to constantly be on alert based on what may be moving through my mind on a moment by moment basis. And the answer is yes, that practice is mindfulness. This is what it does. So through this process of disidentifying with the ego, seeing thoughts for what they are, just thoughts, not facts, and also decentering, which creates the space in between the thoughts and ourselves, so that we can choose how we wish to respond to them, and also change the way we want to relate to the thoughts that are arising in the mind, or the emotions or feelings that are emerging in the body. We change our experience of life, and it means that we can not get pulled into some of the worrying thought patterns that really create a lot of suffering in our life. So we're constantly thinking into the future. We're worrying about what's going to happen in the future. We're worrying if we're going to realise our potential. We're worrying if someone's going to get sick. We're worrying if we might get sick. We're worried about death. We're worried. All these things. Worries, 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 worries. So mindfulness is helping us just to come back, to be present, and to see all this stuff for what it is. It's just a pattern. It's an echo from the past, and not one that we need to keep feeding our energy into. And when we start to learn how to master that skill, our life starts to change for the better. And our bodies start to benefit from it too, because we're no longer staying in this heightened state of alert where cortisol and adrenaline is a familiar experience within the body. And the body then starts to get addicted to those chemicals, those hormones. The hormones of stress become addictive, and the adrenaline. And even when we're sitting down to relax, the body won't allow us to relax. The body will say, shouldn't you be worrying about something right now? Shouldn't you be doing something right now just to keep you on the move? And that, again, for our health and well-being is not sustainable. We're going to end up burning out at some point or getting into some kind of emotional or mental distress. So this is why mindfulness as a practice is so beneficial for humans, for all of us, if we can get to that point in our lives where we can see the opportunity in it and then step into that. And I don't know anyone yet who has made that journey and has regretted it. So something to think about, but please reach out if you've got any more questions about that. Take care.